Welcome to Comics for Fun and Profit with Drew and Bob. This is a review segment that we're going to do, chock full of spoilers. Sorry about that. If you're anti-spoiler, we couldn't help ourselves and we spilled the beans on a bunch of stuff. So we're going to talk about Daredevil 26. We're going to talk about Superior Spider-Man 10, Saga 12, Wake number 1. Basically, we're going to cover comics from the beginning of May through with Saga 12 to the end of May with Wake number 1. So let's get started with Superior Spider-Man 10. Great issue for me. Bob, what did you think?
I thought it was good because it raises a lot of questions that will be coming up in issues to come. Definitely the whole Otto thing and him losing Parker's memories is going to be a really big thing. I think we'll see in issues coming up. See some interesting stuff between him and Mary Jane, I think. She already seems to know something's going on. Same thing with Carly. So that'll be very interesting to see what happens coming up here. Now that Otto is got the suit, it gives him a chance to be a little bit dark, and I like that.
I think we can both agree that Superior Spider-Man was an A. If you're going to grade it, it was an A comic in my mind.
Yeah, I've been skeptical about the series, but I think this was probably the best for me.
The best of the first 10?
Yes, I would go as far as to say it was the best because you got the Goblin in there and you got all these new questions that are coming up. Yeah, it was a really good issue. I like the way it's drawn too.
Yeah, who's the art on this? Stedman?
Yeah, it's really good. I like his pencils.
And who's the guy that was doing it before? They kind of go back and forth with. I like him as well.
Yeah.
This guy's a little more... It has almost an Ultimate look to it, I think.
Yeah. It's just the really sharp pencil lines are just awesome on some of these panels.
Yeah, it's nice.
Really good action. Yeah. If you look at the action sequences, all the little like sharp pencil lines, that's really cool.
What do you think of the evolution of Spider-Man's Superior Spider-Man's costume?
Oh man, I love it.
You like the way it's going?
Yeah, I really do. The new eyewear is my favorite because it's cool looking and it's functional. You know, that's how Otto is. You know, everything's functional. You know, everything has a purpose.
Yeah, I like the tech angles. Definitely like the tech angles. Mm-hmm. And the high tech solutions that he has for fighting crime. I like that a lot.
Yeah, definitely. And the claws just so he has his evil side while he's fighting as well. You know, visually you can see the evil side.
It's tough not to root for him, though. I mean, one of the things I thought going in was that, you know, I would not like this Superior Spider-Man. I really wouldn't. I wouldn't like Doc Ock. But I've really kind of grown fond of the guy, and I'm rooting for him.
Mm-hmm.
But as a long-time reader like you are, you've read from the beginning, from issue 1, so you probably have a strong connection to Peter Parker, so it's probably a lot tougher for you to root for him, isn't it?
You would think it would be, but you got to remember that you know, Otto was a big part of the history too. You know, he's been in so many Spider-Man books, and I have a really deep connection with Otto, and it's nice to see him. And I love hearing the way he talks. You know, like he uses the word dolt. Like nobody uses the word dolt nowadays. So like when he uses that in the 21st century, you know, the red flag is going to come up.
Or toodaloo.
Yeah, I mean, it's like nobody talks like that, especially, you know, Spider-Man, right? Or Peter Parker. You know, he's a young guy.
Yeah, it's really good, and I think all the naysayers that were writing death threats to Dan Slott around 700 time, you know, I think they should be eating their words at this point because it's really a good series.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't understand it because, you know, I'll read a Superior Spider-Man issue, then I'll sit down and read, like, you know, maybe Spider-Man 150 or Spider-Man, 123 and just an old issue, and it's cool. It's cool to have both, and Spider-Man has a long history, and this is a much needed, jumpstart, basically. It's like a adrenaline shot for the series, basically. It's nice.
Now since this happened in 700, the rumors have been flying that it's only temporary. Peter's coming back. It's only a matter of time, and they're throwing out numbers like, maybe they'll start renumbering at 725, or they'll start numbering at 750, and Peter Parker will be back in control again. Do you have a theory on that too?
I don't. And I kind of don't want to, because I'm kind of enjoying it so much that...
You think you can just go on and on and on?
Well, a lot of people saying, I saw this coming, I saw that coming. I haven't really seen that much coming. I think Slott's doing a good job of, bringing this stuff to light. Like Otto getting rid of the memories, Like, I didn't see that coming. A lot of people say they did, but I didn't see it.
Oh, no. I didn't. I've been pleasantly surprised at every turn, really. I think I know what's going to happen, and I think it's going to be cliched and, happen by the book, and then it kind of really doesn't for me.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, out of all the writers out there, Slott is the one that's grown the most on me, because at first I was so upset with him, when people liked him, I was upset with him, because I just thought he took Spider-Man and brought it down to too much of a family level. It was too kiddie,
Is he responsible for the clone stuff?
No.
That was before him?
He started up after, there's this, Brand New Day kind of thing that they were touting after, Michael Straczynski, I think that's how you pronounce his name.
Okay, yeah.
Had this crazy story arc that just flipped the whole Spider-Man universe on its head, and then they had to go back to the drawing board and kind of like reboot the series almost. And Slott was one of the writers that was on board. Actually, they had a bunch of writers, and they kind of let Slott take the reins out of all the other writers that were doing it at the time.
What else we got to say about Superior 10? Is that it? Does that about cover it?
Yeah, I think that, well, you know what? There's one thing I want to say. I don't know if you noticed this or not, but I did. Do you notice the little goblin pygmies, or whatever the heck they are?
Oh, yeah.
Remember, I don't know what issue it was, a couple issues ago, he was fighting the Vulture, and the Vulture had the little pygmies, and Otto found out they were little kids, and he went nuts.
Oh, yes. Yes, I remember that one.
What do you think about the little goblins? They're obviously not full-size humans.
Yeah, I'm trying. When they found the deactivated spider bot, that scene.
Yeah, I'm looking at one of the page panels right now. Well, they're on the back. They're on the last panel as well. But I mean,
Mary Jane was in there. Yeah, okay.
Are those the same kids that he's using?
I don't.
Is it possibly the Vulture underneath the Goblin? I mean, it could. There's more questions here.
Yeah, they look a little more menacing than they did before.
Mm-hmm.
A few issues ago.
Yeah, well, they're just wearing a different costume, I think, It's a different, I mean, they're wearing costumes.
And those hands look like man hands. At least by the art.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. And are you looking at the last panel?
Yeah.
Look on the right side. There's like guys dressed, looks like in like bird suits or something.
Yeah, it looks like a little Court of Owls stuff going on back there.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? And then on the left side, you got like, looks like mob bosses.
Yeah.
It's just odd. I've never seen those suits in this issue before, in this issue or any issues.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's supposed to show these are different types of criminals from all different segments of the underworld and that he's bringing together as an army, or what?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there's like 4 or 5 of them wearing the same suit. I just really can't wait till next issue to see, if we're going to see any of this stuff.
Well, you only have to wait a week or so, right? Because it's coming out twice a week now, or twice a month.
Yeah, so I'll be ready.
Cool. All right, let's shift gears just a little bit and talk about another fantastic book, in my opinion, Daredevil 26.
Yes. My favorite,
yeah.
long time.
For me, this book is an early entry into Book of the Year. Best single issue of the year. I think it's. I actually like the backup story just a little bit better than the main story, but they were both really strong.
Oh yeah, that backup story kind of pulls your heartstrings, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, I was right there. It was an emotional roller coaster for me, and I was right there with Foggy in that cancer ward with the children, and watching them draw that comic book. And it was just really good. And Mark Waid is great at those kind of emotional issues. He did that Christmas issue a couple of years ago too, didn't he?
Yeah, another thing with the kids,
Yeah, that was great too, and it reminded me a lot of that.
The great thing I think that Mark Waid understands about Daredevil, and I think this is not put in negative light, but he's not the well-known superhero like Spider-Man and Iron Man, the Avengers, and he makes that statement known in his comics, especially with that backup story where Foggy's like, "Hey, what about Daredevil?" I'm like, "Daredevil? Pfft, we're gonna have the Hulk smash everybody."
Yeah, that was great. That was a great little touch. And then the main story, I don't remember Bullseye being in any of this Daredevil run of Wade's, since they relaunched it, number 1. Has he been?
No.
Okay.
But he actually has been. You just haven't seen him, because obviously we just found out that he's the one plotting everything.
And how far back does Bullseye go with Daredevil? Is it back to the beginning?
Volume 1, but not till like the 100s, I think. I think it was like somewhere in the middle of Volume 1 somewhere. I don't know what issue.
The first appearance of Bullseye would be nice to pick up, I think.
Oh yeah.
It'd be kind of a cool issue to have. Yeah, he's cool, and because he plays a prominent role in Daredevil End of Days as well.
Ooh.
That 8-issue miniseries that Bendis is doing. And I've been enjoying that, and it's kind of a futuristic take on Daredevil at the end of his life, and I'd recommend that too. But Mark Waid he's just brilliant, and I just love the way he writes Daredevil. He makes him just a human character that I care about and I can empathize with. I can walk in his shoes while I'm reading that issue, and I really enjoy I care about the characters, and I'm rooting for them while I'm reading the book, and that's saying something sometimes. You don't get that everywhere else.
No, you really don't. That's always been that's all I feel about Daredevil. He's not that, like I said again, he's not that big superhero. He's not that Spider-Man. He's got a small area of the Marvel Universe. He's got Hell's Kitchen. That's all he's got. And also another thing is the way it's drawn. Like it's Hell's Kitchen when you're looking at it. If you've read previous Daredevils, there's always that schoolyard, and when you see the buildings and him jumping over the buildings, and like on the cover of this, he's on a clothesline thing, and you're like, oh, that's Hell's Kitchen. It just rings true,
Yeah, and I don't know the history of that area of the city either, but it's always been his stomping grounds and his kind of area that he protected.
Yeah, he's got this small, like I said, he's got this small part of the Marvel Universe, like that's his stomping grounds, he fights the smaller time criminals in that area.
Yeah. Except for like someone like Kingpin or something.
Except for like someone like Kingpin or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Now, did you ever read any of the Frank Miller Daredevil that he did?
I haven't made it there, actually.
I've heard good things about that. What about the Kevin Smith Daredevil issues?
I just read those, and it's really good stuff, man. It's a lot of religious undertones, but they're in a good way. And you know what's so funny about it? You know, I started off reading Volume 3.
Which is the one we're reading right now, the Mark Waid?
Yeah,
okay.
Mark Waid. And you know, it's a huge story arc, right? Huge story arc, all this stuff going on in the background. Someone plotting Daredevil's demise and driving him crazy. And, you know, Kevin Smith does the same thing. Like, he started his run off the same way. Like, Volume 2 started that way, you know. Someone's plotting against Daredevil in the background. You don't find out who it is until, like, 8 issues into it, you know. It's great.
Okay. Well, about how long was Kevin Smith's run?
I think it was 8 or 9 issues.
Okay.
And it ended, the last issue was, really cool because it had, Spider-Man in it. And, they were talking about all the things that happened in the previous issues and kind of came to him as a friend, and it was a good closing of the arc.
And then, I know Bendis is kind of a well-known Daredevil writer as well. He had a long run, did he not?
Yeah, somebody took over after Kevin Smith for, I don't know, like 2 or 3 issues. I think his name was Mac.
Oh, yeah.
And then Daredevil started, or Daredevil. Yeah, Daredevil wrote Daredevil. No,
it writes itself.
Bendis started, and then he had an arc, and then I think someone else took it, and then Bendis took it back. So Bendis has had stopped and started, I think, 2 or maybe even 3 arcs on Daredevil. I mean, I'm reading it right now, so not that far in.
How does in your mind, how does Waid stack up against some of these other Daredevil writers from the past?
So far, he's my favorite, just because of how emotional he is, and also how it almost feels like you're reading Silver Age a little bit, you know. It's got that simple feel to it. I think the art has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, this Chris Samney art, I don't think art makes as big a difference usually. To me, I know you feel a little more strongly about the art, but for me, when it is great, I notice it. When it's horrible, I notice it. But you know, most of the time, as long as it doesn't get in the way, I'm more about the story. But for me, the artist and the writer work so well on these Daredevil stories. The Samney, is it Chris Samney? Yeah. Chris Samney, he's really great.
That's funny. I'm looking at it. He's on there as a writer too on this particular issue.
I think they call him a storyteller.
Yeah. I wonder what that means.
I think they're equating that he's telling the story with Waid.
Oh, through the art.
With his art.
I got you. That's cool. It's true too, you know.
Well, that interpretation of Bullseye in that canister, or iron lung, or whatever the heck it is, that's very cool, very striking. Like a big urn, really.
Yeah. I think it's kind of ingenious that it's Bullseye because he's like the human weapon. Like he can make anything a weapon, right? And he's known for making the weapons that are in his hands that he throws. Well, now his human weapon is his mind. I just think that's so cool.
Now, why was this a special issue? Why was this a double? You know, I don't know if it was a double size, but it was extra long. Is it because this is the first of the kickoff to shipping twice a month?
I was thinking it was because it's like the turning point, or almost the climax of the arc.
Okay.
You can find out who was behind it. You know, he's been tormented for 25 issues. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
I mean, because think the first issue had the Spot in it. It was sent by Bullseye, who was actually Coyote, right?
Okay, I didn't put that together.
Yeah. So you got and they talk about it. Well, they don't say the spot. They say Coyote. That what's that one guy they sent that could control the electrical stuff? I forget his name. And then finally, this guy that has his Daredevil's powers that could actually potentially kill him, and makes him no longer the man without fear, basically.
Oh, the Katana guy, or not Katana,
Yeah.
but what was his name? Jeez, he was just in here. I can't remember.
A Japanese name, I don't know.
Yeah, Ikari,
Yeah,
something like that.
that's his name. Daunting the yellow and red like his father.
And that was a great issue too, where he thought he was blind the whole time in that battle until that was an amazing twist.
Until he sees him grab for a weapon.
Yeah.
yeah. I love that. That was really cool.
And there's another bonus in this issue 26. Okay, you get the great story that kind of brings this long-running story arc to a climax. You get the backup story with the emotional resonance with Foggy and what's going on with his cancer and the heartwarming tale there. And in between, you get a snapshot of how this thing is created with a couple pages of script, some rough pencils as they become inked and then go through the color process, and it's really cool. It was a really cool little snapshot that you can kind of see how it goes from the words on the page to this piece of art in your hand. It's really great.
Yeah, and if you notice, I mean, it's really rough when it starts out.
Yeah, that was surprising to me, how rough it is. I mean, I could probably do that first panel myself, and I have no art skills. But then I know I couldn't do the finished product.
Honestly, when I'm looking at this, I see how rough it is, but I see the whole point as storytelling. Kind of like from a director of photography standpoint. As you're looking at this page, look at the first panel, the really rough one. I think it's got page 15 scribbled in the corner.
Getting up to follow page, yeah.
Yeah, you can tell by looking at it. The first one, it has like little numbers. It tells you what's going on.
It is very reminiscent of storyboarding.
Yeah, I like. That's probably how they work so well together. They're kind of showing us how they work so well together.
Yeah, this is a great issue. I would say another A plus. Let's give this an A plus because it's just great from beginning to end. Now, Mark Waid, are you reading any of his Indestructible Hulk as well?
No, I haven't picked one up yet, but I hear there's one. I don't know if the one that just came out or the next one's supposed to be something really big supposed to happen. I don't know. You read it.
I read it, but I haven't read the latest issue. If there's something big, that's great. But yeah, there's some cool stuff with Thor going on over there now, and Walt Simonson's the guest artist for a 3-issue arc. So you get to see Simonson drawing Thor, which is pretty amazing stuff.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, he's fantastic. But it's good. It's a really good, solid title. And then, at some point I was equating, it's almost as good as Daredevil. But then Wade puts out issue 26, something like this. He does this every so often, and he just says, don't forget, I can write a heck of a story, and here it is. And then it kind of just blows the doors off of Indestructible. It's not anywhere near this.
Yeah. You can't go for an emotional roller coaster like this.
Not with Hulk Smash, no.
No. That's pretty good.
You got anything else on Daredevil?
I could probably talk about this book forever. I could down the line. I'll probably crack it open and we'll talk about it again. But for right now,
yeah. Well, if you're going to read the Smith story arc and some of the older story runs on Daredevil, I'd love to hear like his history. all I know is Wikipedia entries. So
Yeah.
I haven't read a lot of the old stuff. So
Yeah, like I did that with Spider-Man before I started going back and reading like every single issue in sequence, and it just doesn't do any justice. You're like, oh, that sounds cool. I want to see when that happens, but being there for the ride is the joy.
yeah, you're reading. You're talking about the Stan Lee early Spider-Man stuff.
Yeah, and even after that, it's all good. It really is. I haven't ran into a bump yet that I didn't like.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing Spider-Man. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
All right, let's shift over to you want to do Saga 12? Something from earlier in the month?
Yeah, you know what? That's great because I just reread it because I read it so early in the month.
Yeah. We're not going to get another Saga for a while, so we might as well talk about this one because Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples like to take a hiatus after about 6 issues, put out a trade, let Fiona get caught up on the art, or get ahead on the art maybe, before they put out another one. So they'll take, I think, 2 months off is what they did the last time. So we probably won't see another Saga. We won't see Saga 13 and probably till July. So we've got a little bit of a wait, but you'll have the second trade, which might have some extras in it to tide us over. And usually Image does a pretty good job of putting a nice trade out with some extras, and for a decent entry point, usually like a $10 or $15 trade. So I might pick that up to tide me over. But in the meantime, 12 was kind of a cliffhanger.
Yeah. Now, Drew, does everyone know what Saga is? We need to give them a rundown. I don't know. We talk Spider-Man and Daredevil, and people's like, oh yeah, Spider-Man, Daredevil, yeah. But Saga,
it's possible.
Yeah.
Well, what did you? Yeah, bring them up to speed.
Well, I mean, it's an Image comic. Image is coming back. They've got some killer books out there now, and this is one of them. If you're familiar with Brian K. Vaughan's work, this is probably going to be an amazing book if you haven't picked it up. Well, if you're familiar with Brian K. Vaughan's work, you've probably already been reading it. So, anyways, I don't want to ruin it.
Well, how was it pitched? How was it pitched when issue 1 came out? I remember you told me about it, and I said, I don't know. I'm not sure. I think you said what, Game of Thrones meets Star Wars?
That's what they said.
Yeah. And it's so much more than that.
Yeah, and I didn't see that.
But
that was something that would make somebody go out and think about picking it up.
It's got a Romeo and Juliet feel. They're, two warring factions that they shouldn't be in love. They shouldn't be able to fall in love and have a baby, but they do because both of their races are in a war with each other. Their respective races are in a war with each other, and it's got a lot of fantastical imagery, a lot of space, science fiction stuff going on, but at its heart, it's just a great story of these two people that found each other and trying to survive and make a safe place in the world for their kid. Basically, that's my take.
Yeah, there's a big family connection along with the science fiction,
Yeah.
Because they bring their parents into it, and his parents into it, and whatnot. So yeah.
Yeah, and there's these group of bounty hunters that are after the protagonists, and chasing them across space and from planet to planet, and it's very interesting, and there's some really cool battle scenes and narrow escapes and near-death experiences for all involved, and it's just a great roller coaster ride, and 12 is more of the same.
Yeah.
It has a nice cliffhanger where they might get caught, they might not, we don't know. They very well could. This could be the end, but I doubt it. I think they'll make it.
Yeah. It's funny you talk about the robot prince is his name, is the one going after them.
Yeah.
And he's actually on the cover, and it looks like he's dead on the cover. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's like lying dead. And then you open up the first panel, and you see him there again, blood everywhere. But then it goes back to him waking up. So you're like, okay, back to the story, But it's a cool scene with this little, this is a good thing about this book. You never know what type of character you're going to get.
No.
You never know what type of character you're going to get. You got this, I don't know, what is it, a gerbil that's walking around? What is this thing?
Yeah, what is that thing that just pops up?
It's a cute little gerbil.
And you keep thinking that thing's going to just turn into a giant monster and kill everybody.
Yeah, but it's a nice, and you find out it's a woman, because he says, something about, I forget, something about a woman or whatever. But then this little cute thing drops the F-bomb.
Yeah.
You're like, what the heck?
Yeah, exactly. And the thing about the robot, or the guy with the TV head, what's his name? What do you call him, the robot prince?
He's like Robot Prince something the third. It is.
Yeah.
It actually, it's a Robot Prince the fourth.
That's right. He has a TV for a head, so he doesn't have a face. Therefore, how could you show what he's experiencing? How could you show his emotions? You can't show any facial expression. But yet, Fiona Staples can draw him in such a way, the way he's standing, the way he's slumped over, the angle of his body, that it tells you exactly what's the way he's thinking, what's on his mind, and she can emote that character without a face, which I think is pretty impressive. And like I said before about art, I usually just don't want it to get in the way, but Fiona Staples is doing some amazing stuff in this book.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I'm looking at one panel where he gets a phone call and he's got his hands wrapped inside of his hands. He's laying down and he just looks calm,
Yeah.
And they show that. It's really cool. I love. She's one of my all-time favorite right now in terms of comic book artists. It's just crazy what she can do.
Yeah, I noticed that she's doing a cover for a new relaunch of Red Sonja or Sonya comic that's coming out. I'm going to pick that up only because she's doing the cover, because otherwise I wouldn't want to read that. But just because there's she hasn't done that much, right?
No, I want to see it first. I want to see this cover.
It's very Fiona Stapley. They had a shot of it. If that's a word.
You just coined it. Awesome.
Huh?
I said you just coined it. Good for you.
Yeah. Fiona Stapley. That's what it looks like. I mean, you just look at it, and if you glanced at it, you would say, that looks like something Fiona Staples would draw, because it looks just like her style, which is good. And Brian K. Vaughan, I love him. Let's see, where the first thing I read of his was Why the Last Man, and I read it and read it and read it until I read it the 60 issue run, and 2 or 3 weeks. It was great. It's a great story. I haven't read his Runaways run yet. What did he do, the first 20 issues of that? I really enjoyed Ex Machina. That was a 50-issue run that he did for Wildstorm. I really liked that. And he's done, some mini runs. Did he do a Batman run?
He did a
Detective, maybe?
No, it wasn't a run. It was like a standalone trade. I forget what it was called. He also did one for Spider-Man as well.
Oh, okay.
I think the only thing he had a run on was X-Men. Okay. I don't know if it was X-Men or Uncanny X-Men, or he had a small run on one of the X-Men titles.
And I love I loved Ex Machina. I loved Why the Last Man. I read that, was it Pride of Baghdad that he wrote? That was great as well.
Oh, yeah.
He's just a great writer. Yeah. But the Saga, I should have known it was going to be great. and kicking myself for not jumping all over it when it first came out. I didn't come on until issue 3, so I had to go pay a premium for 1 and 2.
Yeah, a premium that was worth paying. If I was going to pay a premium price for a modern comic, it would probably be Saga.
Yeah, exactly.
But to the issue, I have some running questions and inquiries that you may have as well. Now, the Prince Robot goes to the writer's house.
Yes.
And he's like, you wrote this as like, some sort of propaganda. There's a hidden message. And he's like, no, I just, crap that book out for a paycheck or whatever.
Right.
He's telling the truth?
No, he's part of the resistance. That's my take.
Okay. I see. But even if he is part of the resistance, do you think he wrote that book as a hidden message to get people to rise up?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's how they're there. I don't think they're there because I don't think they're at the writer's house because they fell in love over the book, are they? I thought it was because there's a connection to one of them that goes because of the battle lines. That was my take. I might be wrong.
In previous issues, they almost fall in love because of the book.
Yeah.
I mean, because she's reading it to him while he's a slave or whatever working on a railroad or something. I forget, but she's reading it to him, and they have this like connection through this book. It's so ridiculous but cool at the same time.
So because of that and their love for the book that caused them to go to fall in love, you're saying that made them go hunt the writer down and see if he would take them in? I don't know. I don't know if I buy that.
I don't know either.
Maybe.
I mean, it's weird the way he writes because it's like he drops those hints.
Yeah.
But doesn't give you the whole story. So it gets us having conversations like this.
Stranger things have happened in Saga. I mean, some, giant naked aliens, a planet giving birth to a baby.
Yeah, the dead girl that has no bottom half that is traveling with them.
The babysitter ghost.
Babysitter, yeah.
The sextillion planet. That was crazy.
Oh, the Lion Cat, one of my favorite characters.
The Lion Cat, yeah.
Get enough panel time, and he's got a T-shirt now, dude. Did you see the T-shirt?
I didn't order one. I almost did. Almost pulled the trigger on it.
Yeah.
It is very tempting. This Lion Cat is cool.
I mean, it's like, okay, I think that's their first T-shirt, so it's like, it doesn't say Saga, it doesn't have the main characters.
No, that's
just a Lion Cat.
But, they could throw a dart at any panel in any issue and make a T-shirt of it, of the character that it hits.
That's true. I would like to see a Prince Robot with something really cool on his screen,
But not what they put on the screen at the beginning of issue 12.
Well, maybe.
You can wear that in mixed company. That's
true. I'd wear it in my house. No, that's outrageous. That is absolutely. And I think he does that. He's like, okay, it's time to shock the reader. What am I going to put on the first panel?
You think he does it on purpose for shock, or it's just part of his storytelling?
I don't think that's storytelling.
I think in his brain it is.
I don't know. Unless, we're not done with this run yet. That could come back.
Yes, it could be a hint on the sexuality of Prince Robot the Fourth.
That's where I'm going with this.
Yeah, and we were given a clue.
Yeah, he's got a baby on the way, but this is such a good hint. He's got a baby on the way, right?
Right.
But the writer hints at, you royalty are pressured to have a baby.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, he's royalty, so how in real life, especially back in the day or whatever, they were pressured into these marriages, you know, so they have their hair or whatever. So, hair, you know. That could be it. That could be a big part of his, you know, character.
You know, I haven't reread any of the issues. I've read them month to month. So there is a distance between that when you do it. It's different than reading a trade. I might go back now that I have 2 months off from Saga. I might go ahead and do a marathon and read those 12 back to back, just to see if I'm, you know, if there's something I missed from month to month.
That would be a great read.
Yeah, I think it would.
The beauty of Saga is you can sit down and read an issue and be happy.
Yes.
You know, that's what's so great about it, you know? Like, I walk away with some other books and I'm like, okay, I'm still waiting.
Yeah, there are some issues of Walking Dead that they struggle to fill 20 pages, and some of those, 2 or 3 of those are splash pages with no dialogue on them at all, and you finish it in about 5 to 7 minutes, and then you think, what happened? There was nothing in there. There was no plot point, nothing. I should have just waited and wait for a couple issues to build up and then read them in one sitting or something.
Biggest reason it's not on my pull list.
Yeah.
I don't know if I get issue, what issue are they on anyways?
110.
Okay, I know I can get issue 110, and in 6 months I can sell it for a pretty penny. But I still don't buy the dang thing.
Yeah, you could buy it for 3 and then sell it for 10 in about 3 months.
That's just insane.
But you know, I have a very fond affection for Robert Kirkman and Walking Dead because watching the show got me to read the comic and got me back into comics. So if it wasn't for him pounding the drum for people to go to your local comic shop and check out more comic books there and pick up Walking Dead comics there, I probably wouldn't be collecting. So I'll always have Walking Dead on my pull list. Maybe I just won't read it every month. I'll let a couple stack up and then read them in one sitting or something.
You need to meet him at Comic-Con and tell him your story.
He's heard that story. He's heard that story. I'm not the only guy that's happened to, because if you ever read, he has his letters column in the back of Walking Dead. There are many people like me that, you know, heard the same stories from him, heard him pounding the drum for local comic shops, got the itch again, and got back. And, you know, kudos to him, and he should get an award from the Comic Book Owner Association, if there is one, because he was pounding the drum, man. He wanted everybody to go back to the comic book shops and buy them that way, and don't go digital, and pick up your floppy comic at the shop and read it.
That's, you know what, it's strange you say that, because I got back into comics about the same time you did. But it wasn't because of Kirkman, obviously, because I don't pull Walking Dead. And I'm sitting here listening to you tell this story, and for the life of me, I can't think of what did it. I don't know.
Well, it was, you know, the same time, what didn't hurt was the New 52 launch.
Oh, that's a huge part of it.
Yeah, that New 52 launch was in my head, and I'm like, what did they do? DC did what? Mm-hmm. None of the numbering that I remember is there anymore. They changed all the characters. So, yeah, that was like the second thing for me that put me over and said, I got to get back into this and see what's going on.
Yeah. What was the first issue I bought?
It's had to be Batman.
It had to been. It was Batman.
Yeah, it had to be Batman.
And in a close second, I think, was Saga.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then that really spearheaded me to find more books. I'm like, if somebody can write like this, holy crap. Oh, well, and Batman, because, you know, that was Snyder starting that off, and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
You know, I used to read a lot of Batman. I was like, this guy knows Batman.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of Batman, you want to transition over to Batwoman?
Well, we got Batman. Do we have Batman on the list?
No. We could talk Batman if you want to, though.
Well,
you want to talk Batman 20?
Yeah, we can go over it a little bit because for me it wasn't a high point of Snyder at all.
No.
Not at all.
But you know what? I gave the guy a break
Mm-hmm.
because he did Court of Owls, which was high intensity, 12 issues, 11 issues story. And then he did Death of the Family, which was another 8 in a row. So I'm gonna let him have a breather, so to speak, with this Clayface two-parter.
Yeah.
But it wasn't anywhere near what we've been used to reading.
No. And, Clayface's side, the cool thing about this two-book arc was, this last issue, we're going to talk about 20, because all the Damien stuff comes up again at the end.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. I mean, it makes him human, and he says he's over him, and him and Alfred's watching a little video at the end of him. I forget what did he say? He calls him Dad instead of Batman or something. I thought that was kind of cool, and he gets all mad when Clayface mentioned he basically morphs into Damien, and he just flips out in front of everybody. That was cool. I'm like, but it took you 2 issues to get there.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
And there's something about, I think Capullo draws Batman great. He's a great artist, but I don't like him. I don't like the way Bruce Wayne is drawn.
Yeah, he looks so young. Like, he doesn't look like who he is supposed to be in his mind, Doesn't look, he looks a little bit carefree almost. I'm like, nah, that's not Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, it's definitely different. But I mean, I think it was an okay 2-issue arc. I'm kind of interested to see exactly where they're going with this Year Zero. I'm really looking past this issue for Year Zero. I can't wait for that, which I think is next, right? 21 is Year Zero. So,
Yeah.
So next month's, I'm psyched about. I loved Batman Earth 1 that Jeff Johns did. I loved, of course, Frank Miller's Year 1. So that sort of early Batman stuff is my favorite. So Year Zero, I'm really looking forward to, and it should be good, and I doubt it disappoints.
Yeah. I'm bittersweet about it because I love that stuff too. I love Year 1. Read the comics, a while back, read them again, watched the little animated movie, all of it's good. But it's like Damien just died, like I want to see what's happening to Batman and to the Bat family more. We've only seen a little bit of it so far. It's like they're cutting that off to go back, and on the main book, the book that matters the most. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So, and then, I know we're not talking about this, but then, Batman Incorporated also threw in an issue that didn't make any sense.
You're talking about 11 that was written by someone who is not Grant Morrison.
Yes.
I don't understand why that even happened. Was very surprising to me.
Yeah, it's all this crazy stuff happened, this important stuff to the Batman universe, right? And in Batman Incorporated, where most of it happened, it's Grant Morrison's baby. He throws in another writer telling a story about a Japanese Batman.
Yeah.
Almost to burn it, I swear.
And now I believe Grant's going to come back and do 2 more, correct?
Yeah.
And then they're going to end that Batman Inc. for forever, maybe?
I hope so.
Retire it?
If Grant Morrison's not writing, and if he goes back to the original Batman Inc. where he's talking about these second-rate superheroes in different countries,
yeah,
I don't want to read it.
Well, I mean, he does that better than anybody, but that's still not saying much because why would anybody want to do that?
Yeah, he's got that voice that can, cross oceans and stuff, and he can take a character, a Mexican character, an Asian character, and voice them well. I'll give him that. British character, of course. You just got the British characters. So, but I don't want to see that in my Batman comic. I'm sorry.
I made a gigantic mistake with Batman Inc. I started saving them up because I was under the impression I'd been told before that Grant Morrison weaves these very complicated, complex tales, and they're hard to read month to month and get as much out of them as if you read them in one sitting, where you can kind of see the strings and the threads that he's woven through the storyline. So I took that to heart and said, you know what, I'm just going to let Batman Inc. stack up, and I'm going to read it in a run so that it's done. I'll wait till it gets to the end of a story arc or something. And little did I know that 8 was going to happen, and they were going to kill Damian, and now I don't even want to bother because that's ruined for me.
Yeah, that really sucks that they pushed that out there on the internet so hard, where if you're a comic book reader, you couldn't help but hear it.
Yeah, I think it was out before the issue even came out, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. That's ridiculous, man. That's such a huge issue to us readers, I was not impressed with how they handled that.
Did you read all the Requiems that all the different Batman family books did?
Did I read them all? I think I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those were amazing. Those were amazing books.
Batman and Robin was the best.
Which one was the all-silent issue?
Silent issue, yeah.
That was Batman and Robin?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fantastic. I was floored. That was a great issue. And that, I would put that up on the short list for issue of the year as well. With not having to write a single word, but tell a great story like that.
It's funny. I remember I got it first. And I was like, yeah, you should really read Batman and Robin. I'm like, wait a minute. Read. You should look at it, I mean.
You should just open the pages and let it tell you the story.
Yeah. So, I should have just kept with the read, because then I would have completely fooled you. You're like, what do you mean read?
Yeah, that was great. I mean, I thought all the Requiems were pretty good, though, and I think it was a really nice send off. And I hope that DC honors Grant Morrison's wishes to keep him dead, but I don't think they will.
Well, I saw an interview with him where I thought he gave him free reign. He's like, if someone down the line wants to bring him back, they can. Blah, blah,
okay.
Blah. Did you not read that, or?
No, I didn't hear that. I was under the impression that it was a finality, that he wanted to put a cap in it and say that's it.
No, I read something exactly opposite. I read that he feels like when you come in and you get your arc or whatever, you can do what you want, and then the next person can do what he wants, but they have to deal with what you just did, basically. You know what I mean?
Here's the mess I made. Clean it up.
Exactly.
Okay.
He says, I mean, he's really cool because it's like, it's all about the writer with him. It's like, they should have free creative reign to do whatever they want. Don't worry about who did what before you. Don't worry about who's going to do something after you. Which is kind of cool.
Now, when we got back in the comics about the same time. So, the Batman family books were the ones that I kind of hit the hardest and read the most. So I am still reading Batman and Robin. I'm still reading Batman, and I still read Nightwing. The rest have fallen off. The first to go was Batwing. Batwing left really quickly. Dark Knight followed behind that. Batgirl, Catwoman stopped about this. I dumped those about the same time. And then I think I stuck with Batwoman through Hydrology, and Detective was the last to go. And I'm down to these last three: Batman and Robin, Batman, and Nightwing. Yeah, Nightwing's on the cusp for me, but I'm still reading it.
Yeah, they're getting to that point in Nightwing where when he starts leaving Gotham City, I'm just like,
I don't mind him being in Chicago. I don't mind that. I kind of like him being in Chicago, but it's not as great as those other two. Batman and Robin I love, and I don't know what's going to happen to that book now. And of course, Batman's the king.
But for God's sake, if you're writing a Bat book, please stay in Gotham City. It's like its own character. You got Batwing in Africa or something. You got Nightwing in Boston. You know what I mean? The only guys staying in Gotham City is, you know, Batman and Batwoman and Batgirl, right? Is that it? Since
Catwoman's still there, right?
Catwoman. And I don't know what the Teen Titans are up to. I don't read that.
Don't know either. Now, like I said, I hopped off of Batwoman at Hydrology around that time. What's going on in that book?
Well, basically the Hydrology thing happened, and you know that it was a weird mythical twist. You know, you got like a spy type of thing because she's working for the DEO, this branch of the government that's like on its own that wants to basically unmask the masks, and that their ultimate goal is to unmask Batman. And they steal technology from supervillains and stuff and let Batwoman use it. And they basically blackmail her because they had all this dirt on her father, and they're gonna basically turn him in. He's was a general in the military or something. And they also want her to unmask Batman, but she will not do it. And they go through that arc, the Hydrology thing, and they go through another arc where she's with Wonder Woman fighting some more mythological creatures or whatever, and she's working for the DEO. And this particular book, number 20, is the start of a new arc. All those other arcs are done, and she finds her sister.
So this is a jumping on point then for a reader if you want to get back into it.
Yeah. You could jump on. There's a small, tight-knit cast of characters. You got Batwoman. You got her lover, who is also a cop on the Gotham City Police Force, who happens to be a woman. You got her father, which is ex-military. And you got, I think it's her cousin, who is another superhero. It's kind of her sidekick.
Yeah, okay. I remember her.
Yeah, and then you got the leader of the DEO, which is he's got like a black skull, which they never really explain. And then they got the girl that's like her handler or whatever, which is, she's kind of human. She's a human, but she's like, it's like she does her job. I mean, she's like really hardcore about doing her job and stuff, even though she's doing all this crazy stuff. She's kind of reminds me of, you know who Mara Hill is from, S.H.I.E.L.D.? She's like one of the S.H.I.E.L.D. agents they talk a lot about in Avengers comics and stuff. She's kind of like that type of character, you know, a tough woman who's taken on like a leader role. Mm-hmm. That's underneath another leader. Like Mara Hill's right underneath Nick Fury. Well, this girl's like right underneath the Skull guy, which I can't think of his name. Something like, you know, Black Skull guy or something. I don't know.
I'm sure that's what it's called. I'm sure that's his name.
But my big issue with this book is I love Williams III's artwork. Well, in this new arc, he's not drawing.
Oh no.
No. He just writes. And he's got this guy, Blackman, doing the art. And,
is it still painted, the painting style?
No, wait, Blackman's not doing the art. Blackman is writing with Williams. Okay. So usually Hayden Blackman and Williams III write the story together, and also J.H. Williams III draws it. And they have these amazing panels that spread the page, and it's like a picture inside of a picture. It'll be like her cape spread across 2 pages, and inside the cape are the panels or something. Something crazy. It's amazing artwork. And with these mythological characters, it's even like better, you know. And now we got, his name's Trevor McCarthy doing the art. And I'm not impressed.
It's not the same.
It just ruins the book for me, you know?
Is it possible it's a temporary thing where he came in to pick up the slack so that J.H. could catch up?
I hope so. Because if you've looked at whatever, any of the previous Batman books, you just can't fathom how they put it together in time. You know, it's like a masterpiece. It's like, how on earth did they put this together? How'd they come up with this panel layout? I mean, just every page is like that. The panel layout's crazy. I mean, you can get on, I think I was online the other day, I was looking at original art, by J.H. Williams III, and he's selling like a bunch of Batwoman art from this run or whatever. And
for how much?
It's amazing. $3,000, but
Wow.
Why buy a car when you can buy that awesome artwork?
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, this is a setting up. It's a point. I guess you could jump on. She finds her sister and all like the tight knit characters that have been in the story. All her dad was spying on her. He does that, And they all find out that her sister's alive, and they want to help her because she's got in order to get her sister back, she has to unmask Batman. So all these characters are coming together to help her unmask Batman, which is cool because I think this arc's going to be really awesome once it gets started. So this is just a starting point. So I think it's going to get really cool, especially if J.H. Williams draws the next issues.
So definitely, I'm missing out.
I think anybody's missing out if they don't pick it up from the beginning and start reading it. I mean, you got to go to your comic store and pick up the issues because this is something you want to open up and look at.
It's not something that you want to get on Comixology and read digitally.
No, it doesn't give you don't get that. You got to open it up and see it in its fullness, right in front of you. Because you see this huge piece of art and then everything within it, the story, You don't want to be panning around. You don't want that.
Mm-hmm. And the story is good, compelling, interesting?
It's very good because it's like if you like anything mythological and you like anything like spy, like the gadgets. If you like Batman, Batman has the gadgets. She has the gadgets. She has even crazier gadgets because these guys are grabbing technology from everybody, from everywhere. So she's actually got technology that's probably better than Batman's,
Wow.
So if anyone has a chance to unmask him, I think it'd be her. Even though I'm sure Batman already knows it's coming.
Exactly. Now they're cousins, right?
Is
that the connection?
I didn't get that. I don't think she's got a connection like that to Batman.
I think she's Batman's cousin.
Okay. There was an issue a while back where she was actually no, it wasn't even the New 52 run. It was back in Detective. There was a period in Detective Comics where they put Batwoman's name across the top instead of Batman's. Batman was gone, and it was all Batwoman stuff. And they go into her background. I can't remember what it was. Can't remember. You're probably right.
She's Kate Kane, is that right?
Yep, that's her name.
That's her name.
And I know her family was really rich. I'll have to go back and check that out.
Yeah, I'm trying to Google it real quick and see if I can find something.
Yeah, that'd be good because that's interesting. Batman's only been in this whole run. We're on 20. I think Batman's been in like 2 issues. He was there at the beginning. He tried to recruit her for Batman Inc. And of course he couldn't because the DEO was holding her father's blackmail over her head, So she had to work for them. And then he comes back again, I think, and just kind of like, you need to get out of the DEO because they're doing really bad things or whatever. And she doesn't listen to him again, so. And now she's coming unmasking.
Wow. Okay. So they're not close.
No, did you find it?
No. No. My Google's broke.
I don't think too many people Google Kate Kane. This isn't a very popular character, but between the art and if you like a story where it's, a lot of people like Batman because it's more down to earth, right? This is more mythological. If you don't like that type of thing, I mean, she's got a whole arc with Wonder Woman who fights they fight Medusa and like this monster, this god of monsters, If you don't like that type of thing, then you probably won't like the story. But everybody should like the artwork.
Yeah, the artwork, that's really amazing. But I just got a little bogged down in the hydrology storyline, and I don't think I made it through to the end. So I missed out. I might try to catch up and hop back on now that you said it's pretty cool. And we'll have to. I guess the jury's still out on J.H. Williams whether he's going to draw again though.
I suggest going back and read the Wonder Woman arc just because I've never seen him work that good before ever. So.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Do we have time to talk about the Wake?
It should be a quick one.
Okay.
But there wasn't much going on in the Wake.
You know, I didn't mind it as much as you did. I kind of liked it.
You know, I like what might be coming up.
Oh yeah. Okay.
That's how I feel about it.
It seems familiar. I've been reading The Massive by Brian Wood, and it has an ecological, environmental angle to it, and this has that. And then this also has, like, let's put a crack team of expert scientists together to solve this mystery, which you've seen before in a lot of different things, movies and TV shows. So, I mean, that's always interesting, though. It's kind of got an Abyss feel to me as well. But I didn't not like it. I don't care about any of the characters. I'm not really invested in the characters, but I'm invested in the story. I want to know what's next. But
that's
I don't.
Wrong.
Yeah.
The thing that interested me that you didn't talk about was, okay, you're saying it's like the Massive, but does the Massive have three? I mean, they touch on 3 different time periods in this one issue. That's the biggest thing that's got me wondering what's going on.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying there.
100 years in the future, then it's got present, right? Then it's got, I don't even know, it's like, what to say? 100,000 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm assuming we're going to stay in the present day base camp environment where we're investigating that creature, and we'll flash forward and flash back to flesh out the story around it. But I think the main thing is about this girl, who has who listens to whales or whatever. Yeah, like I said, she. I don't care about her. I don't care much about her yet. Maybe I will next issue.
I know,
but I do care about what the mystery is enough to come back. But
you want to see the whale whisperer investigate man shark, basically, right?
Yeah, I think that's what I want. Yeah.
Okay.
And now that sounds like a good comic. Yeah, I mean it's not really Scott Snyder to me. It doesn't read like a Scott Snyder book.
You know what? The artwork reminds me of Snyder for some reason. I think I like the artwork. I think it can ring out his voice if he puts the words on properly or whatever.
Well, the guy that did this is Ryan Murphy, and he did Punk Rock Jesus, which was pretty good. I mean, I enjoyed the story, but the art was, I think Vertigo might have put that out too, and it was, they got cheap, and it went black and white instead of color. So, sometimes these black and white comics, it's tough to differentiate between the characters.
Yeah.
Because you don't have the color to help you.
That's because I can mix up.
But I like his art with color is pretty nice. It's not too bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
It's not Ryan Murphy, it's Sean Murphy, sorry, not Ryan Murphy.
Wasn't there I don't know if it was the podcast that he was on, Kevin Smith, or not, but he was talking about going back and getting artists that he worked with before from Vertigo. I thought this was the artist. Don't quote me on that, I think it was. It might have been someone he worked early on, Vampire or something, but I'm pretty sure it was before.
It might be.
So he had that connection there. But,
are you gonna stay on and read another week?
Oh yeah. I'm on board.
Okay.
I mean, Not because there's Shark Man. Like, I'm like, there better be a good explanation. It better not be just be a Shark Man. Because I'll be upset. I'm interested in 100 years in the future and why she's like, that girl, she's like, what'd she say? She says, it can't, we're so close when the tide comes in. Like, what was she doing?
Oh, at the beginning?
Is that something that's happening now in the present? Is it happening again? You know what I mean? That's interesting. And then you got the cave guy with that futuristic thing that destroys his eyes or whatever. You know, it's like, what is that? You know, I think that's cool.
Okay.
That's what interests me. You know, like there could be a really good story here.
Yeah, you know, now that you mention it, it's quite. Yeah, who knows which one of these storylines we're going to follow? You might be right.
Mm-hmm.
Now I don't like it as much.
Well, no, I think here's what I think we're going to see. We're going to see what you said, the present day, them in the bottom of the ocean storyline.
Well, but the present day is actually the one with the riding the shark, and it flashed back 200 years to go into this discovery area down in the base camp.
Okay, so
yeah,
it's not present day according to how the book starts then. But the meat of the book, characters, I'm pretty sure that's what they're going to follow. I think back and forth to flesh out the story from the future and the past.
Yeah,
yeah,
and that makes sense.
Yeah.
It hopefully will make more sense as we read it.
And 9 more issues.
And 9 more issues, yes. Please tell 3 simultaneous stories in the next 9 issues, and make us love it. Do you want to talk about any other books that you read in May that are jumping out at you?
No, I don't.
Okay. Well, June's right around the corner. There's a lot of good stuff coming up in June. I'm psyched. Next week, Daredevil End of Days 8 comes out, so that's the end of that miniseries that Bendis is doing. And then they're going to start and kick off another Daredevil miniseries called Dark Knights. So I'm not I don't think I have that on my pull list, so I'm gonna have to just kind of wait and see what that is. Maybe pick that up down the road. Of course, Superior Spider-Man 11 comes out next week, so I know you're on board for that.
I'm very happy.
Yes, yeah. You only have a few days to wait for your next Superior fix. All new X-Men 12 will be coming out next week. Age of Ultron 9, which Age of Ultron is I don't hate it, but it's not great. Have you been reading them?
I have to correct you.
It is great?
I have to correct you. I'm being the X-Men reader. It's all new X-Men.
What did I say?
You said X-Men. I think X-Men's getting ready to start off on its first issue here soon. I think they're going to be focusing on the women.
Oh yeah, the X-Men #1 will be coming out shortly too.
Yeah,
that's an all-woman book, which that looks good. I might check that out.
Yeah.
But man, there's an awful lot of X books and Avengers books to follow.
I know it. You just got to kind of, if you want to follow that, you just kind of got to pick. Well, actually, you got to pick 2.
Yeah.
Just read 1 because they like cross over. Like 2 of them always cross over.
Age of Ultron 9. The cover has alternate universe Wolverine killing future present / Wolverine. So that should be interesting. But it's number 9, and there's really not too much left to do. Too many issues left to get some resolution going, and I don't think we don't seem that close to a resolution.
So Wolverine is obviously killing the other Wolverine because he killed Hank Pym.
Maybe.
Or that's what the cover wants you to think.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And those are kind of the big ones that I see coming out next week. So we'll wait till there's a couple great books that we can't wait to talk about, and we'll get together again and crank out another podcast. And anything else you want to tell everybody to look forward to, Bub? Bob? All right.
Read-
Well,
Reading is good.
yeah. Read more comics. Read more comics.
You might find something you like.
Yeah, there's plenty out there. So, it's Bob and Drew for Comics for Fun and Profit. And until next time, thanks for listening.